Hello, my name is Grady Marshall, and I'm a friend of Rodney Eugene Lockett, a U.S. Army veteran that was exonerated through serological laboratory testing 32 years ago. Yet, Mr. Lockett remains in a Florida prison since 1985 to rot. Mr. Lockett was wrongfully convicted in 1985 in Pinellas County, Florida. The flawed and misleading trial testimony of Mary Cortez, a serologist for the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, contributed greatly in assisting the state attorney for Pinellas County, Florida, in orchestrating the wrongful conviction of Rodney Lockett on August the 1st, 1985, in Circuit Court Case number CRC 85-2110. Rodney Lockett, an Army veteran, was wrongfully convicted of sexually assaulting two white females in 1985. In Mr. Lockett's case, a vaginal swab taken from one of the victims tested positive for the presence of semen. Mary Cortez, the serologist for FDLE, conclusively identified that the semen originated from a person of blood type A. However, Mr. Lockett's blood type is type AB. Upon learning of Mr. Lockett's blood type, which is AB, the prosecutors refused to enter the laboratory test results, excluding Mr. Lockett as the contributor of the semen into evidence, and depended solely on the trial testimony of the victims. Mary Cortez, at the urging of the prosecutor, created a possible explanation of why the samples of the perpetrator did not match Mr. Lockett's blood type. She alleged that maybe the semen became contaminated between victims. In other words, victim number one masked the blood type found in Mr. Lockett's semen. Additionally, Ms. Cortez admits that she knows nothing about masking, but that she thought up or made up that masking theory, which she had no prior training. And this can be found in Mr. Lockett's trial transcripts, the testimony of Mary Cortez. Additionally, Mr. Marco Scarpetti, a PhD of Speckling Forensic Laboratories, 2601 Coolidge Road, Suite 202 in East Lansing, Michigan, indicated in an independent technical report that Ms. Cortez's masking theory is not a scientifically valid conclusion in this particular case. Dr. Scarpetti contends that Ms. Cortez's argument and trial testimony is flawed in that there is no association between the suspect and AB secreta and either victim. This can also be found on YouTube in a video that I did a couple of years ago entitled Free Rodney Lockett. Please go back on YouTube and view that video as well. Further, Dola Coleman and her husband, Weston Coleman, submitted exculpatory evidence that Mr. Lockett was with them at the exact times of the alleged assault, but the state of Florida refuses to acknowledge the testimony of Mr. and Mrs. Coleman. Weston Coleman has passed on and went on to be with the Lord. Only Mrs. Coleman remains now, but her affidavit is still on file. Her affidavit is still candid. In conclusion, Mr. Lockett is actually and factually innocent of the crimes for which he has been convicted and incarcerated for over 32 years ago. A miscarriage of justice has been committed. A final report to the Florida Supreme Court dated June the 25th, 2012, clearly demonstrates that many exonerees' case have scientifically valid testing done by crime analysts who testified to false, incomplete, misleading, and scientific invalid conclusions in court. And as such is Mr. Lockett's case. Please view YouTube and type in Free Rodney Lockett. Knowing of an injustice and doing nothing about it is worse than the individual who is guilty of committing the injustice. For more information on what you can do to help, please contact Mrs. Willetta Lockett at 407-733-2889, and she can give you more insight into this case. And also, I would ask you to reach out to the Honorable Governor Rick Scott. Email the governor at www.flgov.com/sunburst and demand that the governor reopen and investigate the wrongful conviction of Rodney Lockett, to review the newly discovered evidence which is exculpatory and material. I ask that you please act now. There are many of you out there in the community who are activists, and rightfully so, because we must stand up for people of all color, white people, black people, red, purple, blue, and green. What we must really stand for is justice. And I believe that service to humanity is the best work of life. My name is Grady Marshall, and I'm asking for your support. Please, don't let this opportunity pass you by to free a man who has been sitting, rotting away in prison for 32 years. Mr. Lockett is a humble man, and he reminds me so much in the spirit and the letter of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., of Dr. Desmond Tutu, and of President Nelson Mandela. Men who were wrongfully abused, misused, and found guilty, but yet and still they rose above the turmoil to become legends in their own time. Please, let's make Rodney a legend in his own time. Thank you very much. God bless.